Hi guys, it's Nico. Today we're going to be talking about this shape, which is usually known as the tower. And particularly the move that we're a little bit interested in is what's called as the tower peep, white here. And this is a shape that, especially since I teach a lot of SDKs, I found that a lot of them with black are very afraid of this shape. And a lot of them with white automatically play this peeping move against both of these cutting points. Also, just talking to other Q-level players, there's a very common thought that this is always very strong for white. So that's just not true. Usually this peep is a bad move, and the shape is actually pretty strong. And I'm going to talk a little bit about why, but first let's just talk just basic preliminary. So the idea here is this is a 1-point jump, and I'm sure that everyone has seen a 1-point jump. You play a million times, you're not afraid of being cut. But just strictly speaking, white can cut this, right? No matter what black does, white has a cut. But the reason that this cut's not a problem, so black has two ways he can Atari. He can Atari on this side or on this side. And then when white pulls back, black has two different cutting points, and he can connect one of the two. And each of these cutting points has several different ways that they can be connected. You can connect here, you can connect here, you can connect here, right? And often what's getting cut off is one stone. So frequently this stone can fight back, or it can fight back this way, or it can even be sacrificed. So essentially, no matter what, this is a fight where white does cut black, but black has just way too many options in order to handle the fight. So even though black is cut, the fight that white starts by cutting this way is not good. So fundamentally, the tower peep is that. And I'm going to show you some variations, but if you just stop the video here and don't learn any more except for that, you've already mostly got it figured out. Now, we're going to look at what I think is probably the most common situation for a tower peep, which is sort of on the third line, sort of like this. This is stone on the third line, these two are on the fifth, and white peeps here. Right? So the first thing I just want to point out is that black does have two cutting points he can connect. The first way to connect, you can just connect here, and if white pushes here and white cuts, I want you to observe that the white stones that are cutting actually are very shy on liberties, for instance, like this. Right? Now, this is not actually what black should play. Usually, black will extend here. This threatens to capture the stone in a ladder. If the ladder works, white will have to pull back. And very interestingly, the cutting stones, these two, can be captured here with a Tsuji. Black plays here. And if white Han is below, the correct answer for black is to cut. And essentially, no matter what white does, black will follow up with one of the two Ataris. So if white connects here, then black will Atari here, and he's connected. And vice versa, if white Ataris here, black will Atari here, and is connected. Right? Now, even if white does, the ladder doesn't work, whatever, this is not necessarily a good fight for white. Also, on the other side, very often this stone is just easy to sacrifice, and even if it's not, again, when black pulls out, there's a lot of liberty problems for the white stones. Now, you can do a very similar analysis here, right? So white pushes black here. White can try cutting here. This is the one that's severe. Black threatens a ladder, and this is the exact same Tsuji. And white is captured here. We'll just show it again. Right? White has to capture, and then black is connected. Right? If white doesn't and white defends here, even if the cut doesn't work, there's still a lot of forcing moves against this side. This other white stone is also weak. You can attack it this way. You can attack it this way. There's a lot of problems. And also the choice between these two is black. Black has an additional option aside from all the ones that I just showed you. Black can also play this Tsuji, which is sort of a nice one to know. The basic idea of this move is that when white puts here, this move protects this cutting point. And if white pushes here, this move protects this cutting point. And usually when you play this one, essentially what you're trying to say is that shape on the outside is all you really care about, and if white captures it cuts at either of these 2 points or even both, you're usually going to sacrifice the 1 stone that gets cut off. And it's not a big deal. If white cuts here, there's a few different ways you can play. It's theoretically possible to fight like this. You can also just stretch like this. However, usually if white cuts on this side, there is almost always one correct way to do it, which is to Atari here and then connect. And the reason you do it this way is because this is Sente. It threatens to descend and capture white with this move. So that's much better, for instance, than black descending here and allowing white to capture this way. If you want to know more about third line capture patterns, I like to call this the Maida method. There's a video on Spirit Animals Go channel where I teach this. Now, since we see that the fight is not good for white if he plays here, very often what white will do in this position is to pull back like this instead of trying to peep, if white knows what he's doing. And the situation here, black can defend. A very common way to defend is just to stretch up like this. And fundamentally what's going on is that if white ever peeps, black will just sacrifice this 1 stone and get fantastic shape. And is also even got this later if he needs it. This is not a good result for white. But another Tsuji for you that I think is just sort of useful here, if we're worried about white ever peeping here, and there are situations usually when white is strong nearby, there are issues with all of the cutting points, and black really has no way to defend. Really can't let go of any of the stones, etc. He really, really wants to prevent white from making this move. There is a Tsuji here which I have for you. It's this move here at 02. And the basic idea is that this move is a sacrifice. White will play either A or B. And if white plays here, black here threatens to bring the stone out. White has to capture. And actually, white can no longer play this. Black can even just play away. White can't play this because he's captured. So there is no peep. And if white were to play the other way, once again, black here, you could argue that maybe white should just allow black to connect. But this usually does affect the eye space of both groups, so it's very common for white to play here. But even in this situation, black can play away, and there is no cut. So fundamentally, the main story is that this is a good shape. There's no reason to be afraid of it. And this peep is usually a bit of an overplay, because black is stronger than white in the local fight, and black has too many choices. And almost always one of them is going to be good, if not more. So it's very similar in essence to this. Just because the cut is possible does not mean that it is good. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you all for watching. Take care. I'll see you at a later date.